Hi guys, welcome back. Remember the other day when I did a complete overview of the 5610 and all of the functions and what it can do, and I even showed you guys Repair Solutions 2 app and all the functions on that application? Well, I was messing around with the RDX and I caught something on the application, and let me show you guys first. I do have all of the Acura's information already saved, and no, it's not gonna matter that you don't have my OBD2 scanner connected to the port because it's still gonna give me the same information as if it were connected anyways. I was very concerned, guys, with the predicted repairs. That's what I was talking about, because check this out. So it says, based on our data, it is likely that the following repairs will be required for your vehicle within 12 months or 15,000 miles. So it'll even give you a percentage of probability of it having to be replaced. For example, NOx sensors. For example, inspect clean battery terminals and perform battery tests. For example, replace ignition coils and spark plugs. And it'll even send you to a link on Amazon so you can purchase the parts, and it'll even give you an estimate of how much the part will cost. Now on mine's, which is very funny because it's number 1, replace NOx sensors. Well, I got a code on the RDX. Let me show you guys. I don't even know how this happened. An issue like this can only be caused by one of 4 things. It's either a faulty NOx sensor, the wiring is damaged somewhere, faulty PCM, and well, this is going to be very unlikely, but it also could mean that my engine's timing is off. Now, most likely, it's going to be a faulty NOx sensor, right? And I'm going to go based off of the probability from the application on the predicted repairs. So I did call a local auto parts store. They do have one in stock. Unfortunately, it is not from factory, so it is not coming from Acura. Now, if it was, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like an additional like $150. But this one is an off-brand one, and they do have one today. So I could definitely go pick that up, and I can start on this repair. Now, I will show you guys the difference between buying one from Acura and then buying one from like an off-brand store. And then we'll go a little bit into the details of how much it would have even costed if I just would have gone to a shop to do this work. Hi, I called earlier for an ignition NOx sensor for an Acura RDX. They said they might have it up here up front for me. Perfect. I got the part. So this is from Duralast. It does have lifetime warranty, so they did tell me that if in case something were to happen and it malfunctions, then I can definitely come and bring it back and they will give me another one. This is how the sensor looks like. It is a single pin ignition NOx sensor. This is how the threads are. Cool, huh? So in total, this part costs $66.51. Before calling Acura, how about we go to a shop and ask them for an estimate of how much they would charge me to replace this part on my RDX. Muy bien, ¿cómo están? Es que tengo una pregunta. ¿Me puede dar un presupuesto para cambiar este sensor en mi RDX?
Vas al Aroson, el Aroson te los diagnostica.
Okay.
Ellos no saben qué funciona este sensor.
Okay.
Si ese carro tiene un ruido adentro del motor o algún ruido anormal en la camioneta,
sí,
te va a mandar este sensor.
Okay.
En toda mi vida que tengo arreglando carros, yo nunca he visto que a esos carros se les dañe un sensor de estos. Déjame ver, este va a ser el de 6. Este lo va a llevar en la parte de atrás. Si quieres que yo cambie este sensor, yo cobraría 175 de labor.
Okay.
Por cambiarlo.
Okay.
Pero en vez de que gastes 175, mejor chécalo bien.
Okay.
Y sal de la duda.
Sí.
Número 1. Número 2, no te recomiendo estos sensores. Están mal hechos todo el tiempo.
Sí.
Eso sí te mandaría que compres uno a la pura y que compra el original.
Sí.
Si en dado caso fuera este problema.
Okay.
Estos sensores, puros problemas. El Aroson es bueno que compres como frenos, discos, pero los sensores están hechos en lugares donde están bien mal hechos.
Sí.
Yo los quito cada rato aquí, muchas partes que no sirven del Aroson.
Sí.
Entonces, yo hago lo que tú me digas, pero yo preferiría hacer un buen diagnóstico.
Sí, un buen diagnóstico. ¿Y cuánto cobra por un buen diagnóstico?
125.
125,
Pero si me das la reparación,
Ajá.
no te tienes que preocupar por el diagnóstico es gratis.
Okay.
Es gratis.
$175. That's exactly what he would have charged me for labor if I wanted to replace that sensor with them today. Now, he did mention me doing a full diag to the engine for an additional $125. And I think he was just under the impression that as I went to AutoZone to buy the part, that probably they gave me some type of diagnosis of the vehicle, and that if I am hearing or experiencing like pinging or knocking from the engine, it has nothing to do with the sensor, and it doesn't mean that it's a faulty sensor, and that he does recommend me doing a full diag of the engine, so then that way I can know, or he can know if I hire him to do the work, what exactly is wrong with the engine, because it's probably not going to be the faulty sensor. He also did genuinely tell me that he does not recommend Duralast parts, and that he only recommends Acura from factory OEM, of course. That Duralast, he's always switching out the parts, even if they have lifetime warranty, that they're just kind of like not that great, right? So not that reliable. So he did express that. And he was very kind. I mean, he couldn't give me like a paper estimate, but that's exactly how much he was going to charge me. $175 for labor, and then $125 for the diag. Now, he did mention, though, that if I did hire him, that he would have excluded the price of the diag, and it would have been included with the service charge of, you know, whatever repair I needed to fix on the engine, just kind of assuming that it's probably not the sensor that needs to be replaced, right? So that was interesting. That was pretty cool. Now I'm actually on my way to Acura, and we are gonna go get an estimate from them of how much the part is, and then see if they can maybe even give me an estimate of how much their labor charges too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really should have asked him, what kind of software do you use to diagnose vehicles? Like, I just get curious now, because ever since I interned for that shop for like over a year, you know, he uses like the latest software from like, you know, this pretty like high-end company. So now I get curious, like, what do shops really use? I mean, Orlando expressed what they use, and I mean, like I said, it's like mega high-end software, you know, so it can like do all sorts of crazy stuff, right? But we're talking about the price difference of having like something that you could do yourself, like a handheld device that's like, you know, a couple hundred, versus like something that's like 10 racks, you know. It's like a pretty steep difference right there. Hi, miss. I wanted to get an estimate for a part that I need for my vehicle. It's a NOx sensor for the ignition on an Acura RDX.
That might be a weird question. You look so familiar. Are you building a Super?
Yeah.
There you go. See?
They recognized me. Hot Mods was spotted at the Acura dealership. Guys, all of the service advisors were super busy, so unfortunately I was not able to get an accurate estimate of the labor for swapping out the part there with them. I don't think that they would even allow me to come in with an non-OEM, non-factory part and then just, you know, ask them to swap it out and I'll just pay for the labor. I don't think they do that. Correct me if I'm wrong though. If they do that, please leave it down in the comments below so other viewers can see, and then that way other viewers can have like the accurate information. But I don't think in California they do that. I know any other mom and pop shop, auto repair shop, most definitely you can bring them like any other aftermarket part that you'd like to. It doesn't have to be a factory part, and they can definitely swap it out. Now the part at Acura is $221. That's very expensive. That's not including tax. So let's say with tax it's like $230, right? Now, I wasn't able to get an estimate with the dealership directly, but I did go on the site. I plugged in the year, make, and model of the vehicle. I chose Acura dealership and that I live in California, and they did estimate the labor to be between $200 and $350. So if I wanted to turn in my vehicle today to Acura to get this replaced, it would be somewhere around $600. Yeah, that is expensive. That looks pretty accessible if you ask me. It looks like something that I can definitely do and I can work on. And that's exactly what we're gonna do, guys. So we're gonna head home and we're gonna get to work. Let's go. So I literally just looked inside my engine and it's like right there, dead smack in the middle. So the RDX comes with the K23A1 engine, which is an inline 4. So there's only one NOx sensor on inline 4 or flat 4-cylinder engines. Now, if we were talking about a V8 or a V6, you would typically always have 2. And they would either be located somewhere along the block, either on the inside of the block, on the outside of the block, but you'll have one for bank 1 and then you'll have one for bank 2. But luckily for me, I only have one. Letting the car sit for about like 45 minutes now before I start getting down here. Let's see if you guys could see it through there. Okay, you see? Oh, yeah, you can. I see it up here too. Oh, look at that. Yep, so it's right there. So I'm gonna use these, take off the connector, and hopefully you guys can see from that angle. It looks like it's a little tight, but I don't know, maybe you guys can see. This is literally like a push-in clip. It's a little hard to do with one hand and then record at the same time, but we'll give it a try. I had already loosened it, but I wanted you guys to see. There we go. So there we have it. Yeah. FYI, my automotive friends, when working with NOx sensors, you will need huge sockets to get that bad boy out and get a new one back in place. And you will need specifically a 1 1/16. We got it. Yes. Okay. All right. Oh. It fell, but it's right here. Look at this. You know what I was thinking? Maybe I should check these, right? Before installing this one, just to make sure that this one is defective. And I really wanted to. Trust me, that would have been a great idea. But I actually don't have a table vise. And that's the way that you would actually check these. Check these correctly, at least in my personal opinion. I was watching a couple of videos and I seen that they would put this in between a table vise and they'll mimic the engine knocking noise. So the harder the bang will disperse the amount of voltage that can be tested from this actual sensor. So the thing is that if it's the same consistent amount of bangs, right? Like it's a pretty loud bang and this one tests out 1.6 voltage, but this one's only 0.2 voltage, then we clearly know that this one is defective. So that's actually how we could have tested it out. That would have been cool. And maybe a table vise is something that I'm definitely going to add to my shopping list. There we go. We got it, guys. I was struggling, but I got it in. It kind of kept falling and it kept going into the little crevice on the side, but it is in and I'm glad. Let's do it again. All right, well, we'll see where we're at after this test drive and hopefully it comes out fine. And I am gonna drive it a little aggressive. So that's, I think, the best way to just see if there's gonna be any active codes after that. And I'll get back to you guys tomorrow and I'll let you know what happens. Hi guys, welcome back. Do you guys hear that? That's a good sounding engine right there. Besides my loud radiator fans going off, it's a super hot day. But if I didn't switch out that NOx sensor, what could have really happened to my vehicle? Well, let me tell you. So my engine's performance would have decreased. My fuel efficiency would have been so bad. Very terrible gas mileage, and I daily this vehicle, so I would have definitely noticed. And over time, even though it's a very small sensor, right? But over time, that can actually cause severe damage to the engine. So it's just one of those things that if I didn't repair this, and imagine, keep in mind, I repaired this myself, so I saved myself $200 in labor. If I would have gone to the dealership, I would have probably spent somewhere around $300, or going to the local auto repair store down the street, $175. So like around $200 I saved myself on labor. And yes, I did install it. I did install a cheap part, right? So a non-factory part from Duralast, but hey, it doesn't hurt to try it. I've done it many times. I've replaced, you know, small little things here and there that I've bought in from AutoZone, and I've never really had an issue once. Personally, I've never had an issue, but I have heard the experience from others. All right, guys, this will conclude today's video. Stay tuned for more, and I will leave the link for the 5610 down below. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye.